Before we start giving Dhamma Talk, we will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. In today's Dhamma Talk, I'm going to talk about the 3 trainings. Although we talk about 3 trainings and their relationship, there will be many different point of view of 3 trainings. Sometimes there will be cause and effect relationship. Sometimes it is just normal explanations, relationship between 3 trainings and all the things I'm going to explain today. As we have known the 3 trainings, Sila, Sikha, the training of morality, and Samadhi Sikha, the training of concentration, and Panya Sikha, the training of wisdom. Similarly, we also have Adi Sikha. You have Adi Sila, higher morality, and Adi Chitta, higher mind or concentration, especially here, higher mind concentration, and higher wisdom, the Adipanya. So here we have to understand these 3 different things again. Normally we have Sila, such as 5 precepts. It can be for everybody, whether it's Buddhist or non-Buddhist. Those who can practice 5 precepts, sure, they can be very good or very kind to their environment. Yeah, we have to know what's the meaning of Adi Sikha. Compared to 5 precepts, 8 precept is better or higher. Similarly, compared to 9 precepts or 10 precepts, so that means 8 precepts is lower. 9 precepts, 10 precepts are higher. Then here we have to talk about Patisambhidamagga rules. As a bhikkhu, we have to follow the Buddhist law. Then when we are practicing Patisambhidamagga rules, when we are following Patisambhidamagga rules, we are practicing Adi Sila, higher morality training. So as we have known, the morality is a training body and mind. So here we have to know if we have higher training of body, higher training of mind. Body and speech, The morality is a training of body and speech, bodily actions and verbal actions. So if we can train bodily actions and verbal actions well, then we are pure. We have to follow different rules. Then we can say this is called Sila. If we follow very high moral precepts, it can be Adi Sila, higher morality. Then we have Adi Chitta. Chitta means minds. Adi means superior or higher. Higher mind or superior mind. So that means in our daily life, we have normal wholesome minds. Also, we may have unwholesome minds. When we can concentrate very well, especially when we can change jhana, we have Adi Chitta, higher mind or concentration. So it's not easy for everybody. It's not for everyone, just for special people, those who practice well. If we can practice well, we jhana, concentration, or asset concentration, we can say it is a aditita, higher mind. The adipanya, in our daily life, we may have wisdom. We can know many things clearly. We can understand everything clearly. But when we talk about adipanya, it's inside knowledge. We can know more ultimate reality in detail, thoroughly. That is called adipanya. So in our daily life, we may have many other panya. All these panya are not that powerful, not that much powerful to eradicate the defilements. When we have very strong panya, that panya can eradicate the defilements. That's why it's called adipanya. So as we have 3 trainings, we also have 3 higher training. This is the first part we have to know. Then, according to Visuddhimagga, it also mentions Tivida Kalyana. Tivida means threefold. Kalyana means good. So what does it mean? Threefold. What does it mean? Tivida Kalyana. So the first one is Adi Kalyana, good in the beginning. When you study the quality of the Dhamma, you can find in the very beginning of statement, Swakhato Bhagavata Dhamma, where expounded is the Dhamma. So that means good in the very beginning, good in the middle, good in the end. This is called Tivida Kalyana. So what does it mean? Good in the very beginning of the Dhamma. Then the Buddha said, what's the good in the very beginning of whole sentence? This in Simultaneous. Then there's the answer. It's well purified morality. If we can purify our morality, then there's a good in the very beginning of Buddha's teaching. So in brief, we have to understand, even in the very beginning of Buddha's teaching, there's a goodness. There's a benefit for our environment and for ourselves. So if we can purify ourselves, that's good for us, also good for other living beings. Then we also have one stanza. I think many people have know this stanza. Sabba babasa akaranam kusala supa sabada satita briodapanam etam buddhana sasana. That's a very, very well-known stanza. Most of the people may know that one from Dhammapada, I think. We can find many other texts also. Okay, yeah, the main thing is, the Buddha says, do not do any evil. That's the Buddha's teaching. So that means not doing any evil. There's also morality. It's good in the very beginning. So later we have to explain again about the 3 trainings and also many different classifications of morality. Then we can find one more thing is Charita Sila. The rules we have to follow. Another one is we have Varita Sila. That means the Buddha prevented or prohibited. That means Buddha says don't do it. If we avoid doing as the Buddha prohibited, we are also practicing Varita Sila. If we can, if we can follow, if we can avoid as the Buddha recommended, then it will bring happiness. It also can bring special quality of non-remorse. So yeah, we have to think about remorse. Right? After doing many, many bad things, we regret, then that is not really very good. not good feeling for us. Sometimes it also affects our environment. That is why we have to follow the moral precepts. It will bring about special qualities of non-remorse. Actually, remorse is also a kind of dosa, unpleasant minds. I think everybody have experiences that one. If you have experience, you know what is it, how harmful the remorse is. Then if we can practice morality very well, our mind will be free from remorse. This is a special quality. That's why Sila is good in the very beginning of Buddha's teaching. The Maitri Kalyana, good in the middle. What does it mean, good in the middle? The Buddha also said, accumulate the wholesome deeds. This is the teaching of the Buddha. In Pali, we have Kusala Subha. So, if we have this kind of, if we can practice second training, especially about concentration, then sure we are abstaining from unwholesome minds. Then the rest one is also good in the middle. This is also a special quality of Buddha's teaching. Especially that can bring supernatural power. So as you have known, we have supernatural power or supernormal power. Especially, we can also say psychic power. All the things come from concentration. Later, we have to explain all the psychic powers and everything in detail in the chapter of concentration. So that means concentration is a special quality we can see that we have never seen before, such as divine beings, higher beings, and so forth. That is why concentration is good in the middle. Now what about the third one? Priyosana Kalyana, good in the end. Yes, in the end, we also have goodness of Buddha's teaching. The Buddha also said, Sajita Priyotapanam, purifying one's own mind. We have to purify our own minds. That's the teaching of the Buddha. Then this is the thing we have to know. When we talk about purifying one's own minds, we have many different ways of purifications. Later we have to explain that one. So the Buddha also said, when we have very strong concentrations, very strong wisdoms, we can also attain headship. Sure, headship is the strongest, stronger wisdoms. That's why we don't need to think about many other things. It will bring everlasting happiness or everlasting peace. So if the wisdom is good in the end, because it's the highest, it also brings about the special quality of occupies with respect to desirable object or undesirable objects. So here we have to think about one thing. In Pali, we call Dadi Guna. Dadi Guna means although we encounter very, very bitter experiences, our mind is not shaken by the experience. Although we have experience, we are experiencing very, very good things, very excellent things. Our mind cannot be shaken by the experience. This is called Dati Guna. Mind is unshaken. Then we can also find some statements in Dhammavada. I think you have known this one, especially those who has been to Paudoya. You may have read this stanza in Sima Hall. In the Sima, we have that, I think, in the, if we face to the Buddha, it will be in the left side. Otherwise, just as solid, massive rocks remains unshaken by the wind, so too, the wise man remained unmovable in the face of blame and embrace. So that means his mind is free from love and hate when seeing desirable objects and undesirable objects. Mostly, when we see the desirable object, we love it, we like it. If we see undesirable object, we dislike or we hate. If our mind is free from love and hate, we have unshakable minds. Only arhats may have this kind of power. We call in Bali, Dadi Guna. So, in brief, in this chapter, we have to know good in the very beginning with sila, good in the end, or good in the middle with concentration, good in the end with wisdom. That is also the Buddha's teaching. Then again, we have different types of attainment. It will be supporting causes of many different types of attainment. Here we have mentioned Visuddhimagga, Upanisaya. That is a powerful dependence. If we talk about Upanisaya, it's a powerful dependence or very powerful supporting causes. So these three trainers are also the supporting causes of 3, 4 clear vision and so forth. So the first one, Visuddhimagga Upanisaya. The powerful dependence of becoming an arhat with 3 kinds of clear vision. And because one can attain 3 kinds of clear vision with the support of perfect morality. If our morality is perfect, we can also attain 3 kinds of clear vision. Here we have to explain what's really called 3 clear vision. In short, we have to know Buddha in Pali. So Buddha means Bu is Pubbinivasa. D is a Divajaku. I is Asavakaya. 3. This is called 3, 4 clear visions. So when morality is purified, the mind is free from defilements by the power of mindfulness and clear comprehension. Also, by the power of karma ownership knowledge. So that means karma ownership knowledge. This is the basic knowledge for Buddhist people. We Buddhists believe that karma is our creator. Karma. So we create karma, karma create us. That means we create ourselves, right? So the main thing is, karma ownership knowledge is a very basics of Buddhism. When we have karma ownership knowledge, if we know that by doing bad things, we have to experience bad things, it will come back to us. If we do good things, many good things will come to us. By understanding clearly that we will follow only good things, we will do only good things, we will avoid bad things, that it will bring happiness to us. And not only that, we also here mention mindfulness and clear comprehension. Mindfulness. If we are always mindful, we will not make any mistake. Mostly people just think that mindfulness is needed only in meditation. In reality, we need mindfulness everywhere. Mindfulness is always needed. Similarly, clear comprehension. If we can know everything clearly, if we can understand everything clearly, we can do better. That is why these are important. So by the power of mindfulness, by the power of clear comprehension, by the power of karma ownership knowledge, our minds will be free from defilements. It doesn't mean we can eradicate, but our mind will be free from it. As long as we have all these things. If we don't have mindfulness, clear comprehension, karma ownership knowledge, then we may have unwholesome minds. So we have to do this quality. Then again, he mentioned that the perfect morality is powerful dependence of mindfulness and wisdom. And we have already know that one. Then again, we have to know the maturity of mindfulness, make the knowledge of recollection of the past lives complete. So that means when our mindfulness becomes very powerful, then we can know the past lives. It can be supporting cause of seeing past lives. Actually, this is called Visuddhimagga. Knowing the past, the knowledge of recollection of past lives. Then clear comprehension make the divine eye complete. If we have clear comprehension, we can attain the divine eye. But in reality, all these things come from concentration. But by the powerful supporting of morality, we can have this one. If we don't have morality, we cannot have this one. Then finally, we have the purifications of inclination. Make the knowledge of distractions or taints complete. So that means if our inclination is pure, then we can also experience the knowledge of distraction or taints. So these three will support. We can say the purifications of morality is supported by mindfulness, clear comprehensions, and karma ownership. Then similarly, these three, mindfulness is also supporting cause of Visuddhimagga, the knowledge of seeing past lives. Clear comprehension also the very powerful supporting cause of the divine eyes. Then we have karma ownership knowledge, purification of inclinations that can make the knowledge of distraction taints. So that's why they have the same base. All sila, morality, also come from mindfulness, clear comprehension, karma ownership. Then three for clear comprehension, three for visions also come from the same things. That's why they have a relationship. Then another one is Chala Bina Daya Upanisaya. Chala Bina means the arhats who attain 6 kinds of direct knowledge. This is called Chala Bina. So the concentration is the powerful dependence of becoming an arhat with 6 kinds of direct knowledge. Because one can attain 6 kinds of direct knowledge with the support of perfect concentration. Okay, here we have to think about one thing. Yeah, I use the Pali word, right? Samahito yata buddham pajanati. And you may have known this Pali because Patisambhidamagga quotes many times. Samadhi bhikkhave bhaveta samahito yata buddham pajanati. This mostly Patisambhidamagga quote this one. So samahito yata buddham pajanati. A concentrated person knows that what is really are. If we have concentration, we can know what it really are. What it really is. So one more thing here, we have to talk about 6 direct knowledge. 6 kinds of direct knowledge. Actually, 5 of them are psychic power. One of them is hardship. If we combine together, it's called 6. So previously we have Puvinivassanosati, Devachaku, the knowledge of seeing past lives, the knowledge of seeing divine beings and so forth. We can also say divine eyes. So we have divine ear. We can also have reading other people's minds. Then we also have flying in the sky, supernatural power. So all these things are called, we call it about abhignana. So 5 abhignana together with hardship, this is called chalabhinya. Only the concentrated person can have all these things. If we don't have concentration, we're going to experience all these things. So they have relationship. But the next one, we have Patisambhidamagga Vedasa Upanisaya. Patisambhidamagga, mostly we translate as analytical knowledges, but here discrimination. The powerful dependence of becoming an arhat with 4 kinds of discrimination, and because one can attain the 4 kinds of discrimination with the support of perfect wisdom. So later we have to talk about all these psychic power and the 4 kinds of discriminations in the Visuddhimagga. This is the first part, only introductions. Then there we also can find many other things, especially what's the causes of attaining Patisambhidamagga. Here we can say the knowledge of discriminations or analytical knowledges. So later we will discuss all these things in the Dhamma Talk, especially at the end of Visuddhimagga. It will mention very many things in detail. And at the end of Samatha chapter, concentration chapter, it will mention many things about psychic power. Then again, if we summarize, they have the same causes. So Sila support Tevija, Samadhi support Chalabhinya, and Panya support Patisambhidamagga. So that means Sila is also supported by, right? Then Samadhi also supports Chalabhinya, Panya also supports Patisambhidamagga. Then the next one, we have the Anda Dvaya Vajana Majjhima Patipatti. The avoidance of 2 extremes and following the middle path. When we study Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta, you may know in the very beginning what I said, 2 extremes. Kamesu Kamasukhanlika Nuyogo, Inokama, and so forth. Adakila Mata Nuyogo, 2 extremes. That the Buddha also explained in the Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta. Majjhima Patipada, the middle way. So here, by practicing 3 trainings, then we also have 2 extremes and 1 middle way. So here, Kama Sukhanlika Nuyoga Vajana, by morality. So that means by the power of morality, we can avoid the extremes called devotion to indulgence of sensual desire. We also say sometimes self-indulgence. Then if we follow our desire too much, we cannot be moral. If we are moral, we are not following our desire too much. So these two different things. So from time to time, people will talk about morality. We don't need to practice that much. If we do just normally, it's okay. Even in ordinary life, we have many different excuses to break the rules. But if we are going to develop ourselves, we have to follow all the precepts taught by the Buddha. Okay, the main thing here is, if we have self-indulgence, we are not practicing moral training. If we are training morality, then we will be free from self-indulgence. These two are opposites. So here we have already talked about by morality, we can avoid the extremes called devotion to sensual desire. The next one is Atta Kilamata Vajana. By concentration, one can avoid the extremes called devotion to self-mortification. We also say self-torturing. The main thing is, if we have concentration, we are not torturing ourselves. From time to time, some meditator also asks me, Bhante, sometimes we are very good in we have good concentration, we can practice very well. Should we sit longer or just normal practice? As long as we are comfortable, it will be better for us to sit longer. Sometimes we don't have concentration. We sit very long time. Too much pain, just enjoying, being patient. Sometimes they also say, if we can overcome pain, we cannot experience any more pain. And they try to endure pain. Sometimes burst into tears, but they still sitting. Too much pain, unbearable pain, but keep sitting. That's called self-mortification. So we must sit normally. As long as we feel free and comfortable, sure, we can sit longer. Without concentration, if we sit too much pain, what's the use of meditation? Just torture ourselves. That is why by concentration, we can feel free, comfortable, no more pain. We cannot know our body anymore. That's a good experience. If we know our body here and there, we cannot know only one object all the time. Then there's not good concentration. But the main thing is, if we have very good concentration, we are not torturing ourselves. If we don't have concentration, sitting very long time, torturing ourselves, that's also extreme way, extremism. The Buddha talk about it. We cannot, or we must not follow this way. The Majjhima Patipada, by wisdom, one can cultivate the middle way. What's the middle way? When you go and study the first discourse of the Buddha, Dhamma Talk, the discourse on turning the wheel of Dhamma, setting in motion, they also say like this. Anyway, the main thing is Majjhima Patipada, the middle way. The middle way is over Eightfold Paths. Actually, it's very clear in Dhamma Talk. From time to time, people also ask, what is it called middle way? It's actually 3 trainings. The Eightfold Paths is also 3 trainings. They are the same. So briefly, by practicing morality, we can avoid the extreme way of devotion to self-indulgent. Then we also can be free from self-mortification by practicing concentration or by attaining concentration. Similarly, by the power of wisdom, we can follow the middle way. This is also relationship between three trainings and two extremisms. Then again, we have the next one. Apayadi samatikamana. Apaya means woeful states. Person being woeful states, and so on. Then we have the next one. Apaya samatikamana. Sorry, samatikamana by morality, we can be free from reverse in woeful states. It doesn't mean we must practice sila, expecting to be free from woeful states. It will happen naturally. We just need to do what we have to do now. As long as our morality is good for our environment, as long as we are not harmful for our environment, we are good enough. Then again, we have Kama Dhatu Samatikammanupaya. Here I talk about Kama Dhatu, sensual elements. By concentration, one can free from the elements of sense desires. Here we talk about sensual desire, attachment to the colorful objects, very nice sounds, smell, taste, touch. So when we have all these enjoyments, we cannot change them. So as soon as we experience or we attain the first jhana, our mind is free from sensual pleasure. Our mind is free from unwholesome thoughts. So by the power of concentration, or when we can attain concentration, our mind will be free from the elements of sensual desire or sense desires. Then the last part, Sabha Bhava Samatikammanupaya. Sorry. Sabha means every or all. Bhava means lives. All lives, all kind of lives. Here we use as all reverse. Samatikamana means free from or overcoming. So by wisdom, we can be free from all reverse. That means when we can attain arhatship, our minds will be free from defilements. At the end of the life, no more reverse. So this is the highest wisdom. So if someone attains arhatship, his mind is free from all defilements, then he can be free from all the reverse. When he passes away, he will not be reborn in any existence. If somebody had attained anagami path and fruition knowledge, he has attachment to life. He can be reborn in the Brahma world, Suddhavasa, pure abode. He can be there for some times. After that, he will attain arhatship, he will enter Nirvana. So anyway, the main thing is, if we have very strong and very powerful wisdom, like arhatship, path and fruition knowledge, no more reverse. Then, if we have a little bit lower, not so powerful as arhatship, like anagami, sakadagami, sotapanna, we can reduce the reverse. if we have attained Sotapanna, we will not be reborn more than 7 times. So later, after that, we will be free from rebirth. This is by the power of wisdom. This is also one more relationship. Then again, one more. Tihakara Kilesa Pahana. Abandoning defilements in 3 aspects. So what is it called? Abandoning. In Pali, we call Pahana. Actually, we have many different types of Pahana. Later, we have to explain all the Pahana. Then similar things will be applied in many other cases. Especially in Patisambhidamagga, it will mention many different things in detail about Pahana. Okay, now we will talk about the first things, Tatanga Pahana. The abandoning of defilements by substitutions is morality. So that means by practicing morality, we can abandon some kinds of defilements. Here we just talk about substitution. So we will substitute good things for bad things. Here, Tatanga Pahana. Actually, Tatanga also means temporarily. It's just temporary. But anyway, always temporary is beneficial. It can bring peacefulness. It also can bring happiness. So the first thing is the Tatanga Pahana. Abandoning by substitution. So second one is the Vikambana Pahana. Abandoning of defilements by separation is concentration. So we can separate all the defilements with concentration. Concentration is more powerful than morality. That's why they can subside the defilements. They can also suppress the defilements. So mostly when we have concentration, our mind will know only one object. Then we may not have unwholesome minds. We may not have defilements. The Samudcheda Pahana, the abandoning of defilements by uprooting is wisdom. So by the power of wisdom, we can uproot the defilements. So later we have to explain a little bit more in detail. There are many other things to explain in the process. Then again, we also have to know, if we talk about Samudcheda, Samudcheda means uprooting, eradicating, we can also say eradicating. Totally cuts off. Actually, later we have to talk about morality again. We have to talk about concentration. We have to talk about wisdom. So you may have background knowledge about Buddhism. In Buddha's teaching, we have many different types of mind power. We have many different types of insight knowledges. We have many different levels of path and fruition knowledges. Different path and fruition knowledge eradicates different kinds of defilements. Finally, when we can attain hardship, all the defilements are eradicated by the power of path and fruition knowledge, especially Arhat path and fruition knowledge. So only wisdom can eradicate the defilements. Ancient time, they may have different opinions, different practice, but not that much powerful wisdom. Although they try many different ways, they cannot eradicate the defilements. as you have known, many different story of non-Buddhist ascetics. They torture themselves in many different ways, expecting to be free from the defilements. They will suffer a lot, but later defilements come again. They will suffer for it again. Okay, now the next part. Visuddhimagga, Visuddhimagga. Okay, this part we have to explain a little bit more. In our previous chapter also, in previous group also, we talk about defilements. This one also about defilements. We have different degree of defilements. So the first one is Visuddhimagga, Visuddhimagga. Transgression, defilement is prevented by morality. You can understand this English words. Transgression, defilements. It's not normal defilements. If normal defilements not so powerful, it cannot disturb us that much. When the defilements become very powerful and very strong, it will disturb our minds, it will disturb our bodily actions, it will disturb our bhava actions. Sometimes, people will scream because of anger, and they will shout or they will quarrel. Then all these things come from Visuddhimagga. This is defined, we call embodied Visuddhimagga kilesa. Transgression, defilements. Sometimes they also say criminal defilements. Anyway, the main thing is, if defilement becomes very powerful, it's out of our control. It will come out as actions. It will be very, very harmful for our future. It will be very harmful for our environment. It also, sometimes it also can be criminal. Then sometimes we have to go to the trial courts. We make problem with our other people or other people's properties. Then we have to suffer for it. The main thing is, Visuddhimagga kilesa are very gross and very strong, also very dangerous if they come out. Then if we don't train ourselves, it will be very harmful for our future in this very life or in the samsara. So now if we can practice morality very good, if we can practice morality very well, we can be free from all these types of defilements. Because morality is training bodily actions and bhava actions. If our body actions are good, our bhava actions are good, then we will not disturb other people. Then it will not be harmful for other people, it will not be harmful for ourselves. So this is a very gross defilements. The strongest defilements. The second level, Priyotthana Pratipakha. Obsession by defilements is prevented by concentration. So sometimes our defilements become very strong, but it does not come up as an action or speech. In the mind, it's not very comfortable. You may know one admonishment by one senior, I don't remember who's the senior. If you bring a rotten potato wherever you go, you will smell. Wherever you go, don't complain the place. Similarly, sometimes our minds are very, very terrible. Defilements become very powerful. Although we don't disturb other people, it disturbs ourselves. We have to suffer from it. We have to suffer too much. Then there's also very bad defilements. We call in Pali, Priyuthana Kilesa. Priyuthana means arising or obsession. Then it will distress people. That's the second layer of defilements. The first layer is the strongest. It will come as action. Second layer is not that much powerful, It does not come up as an action, but it is very painful in our minds. Then the third one, Anusaya Badipako. Anusaya, here we translate as the inherent tendencies are prevented by wisdom. Inherent. So here we have to know one more thing. Anusaya is everywhere, in every time, in whether as long as we don't see something, or we don't feel something, or we don't hear something. Especially, we may have, okay, for example, we may have lower attachments. So normally in our daily life, we are calm, quiet. But when we see something we like, then our mind is not very calm, exciting, because of lower. Similarly, if we hear or see something undesirable, our mind is not very calm because of hatred or anger. So that means in our daily life, as long as we don't see something, some objects that can attract, that can cause the defilements, is okay. If there's some conditions, defilement will arise. This is called Anusaya Kilesa. We try it as an inherent tendency. Okay, we have to understand that one. It can arise anytime, whenever the conditions favor. So this is called Anusaya Kilesa. So if we have wisdom faculties, then if we can practice Vipassana very well, we can prevent from these two. Now here, one more thing I have to analyze Anusaya Kilesa into two. The first one is Aramana Anusaya, the objects. Whenever there's objects, that one can arise. So by the power of Vipassana, we can eradicate that one. Because Vipassana knowledge will take Namarupa as objects. Now in Santana Anusaya, because of like inherent tendency, here we say, it will be in our minds. Then we can be eradicated. It can be eradicated by only path and fruition knowledge. We cannot eradicate easily. So, okay, briefly, if we have very strong, powerful concentration, we can also overcome very gross defilements. The first layer. Then if we have concentration, we can eradicate little subtle defilements, not so gross as the first one. If we have wisdom, we can uproot or we can eradicate all types of defilements. Any kind of defilements. Okay, this is the second part. The next one. Here we have to talk about Samakilesataya Visuddhimagga. To define the three kinds of defilements. This one also talk about defilements again. Okay, the first one is Ducharita Sankilesa Visuddhimagga. The morality can purify the mind from defilements of misconduct. We have already talked about it. So miscontact means bodily actions and verbal actions. Then next one, Tanha Sankilesa Visodhana. The consideration can purify the mind from the defilements of craving. The Tanha is a craving. So that one is also very simple, as we have explained before. Then the third one, Daichi Sankilesa Visodhana. The wisdom can purify the mind from the defilements of wrong view. So from time to time, people also ask me, Bhante, can non-Buddhists attain psychic power? They ask this question. In this context, we can understand, if our minds are free from defilements, we have concentration. If we have concentration, we can purify the craving. But only by wisdom, we can purify wrong view. That means non-Buddhists cannot attain Sarapati, Sakadagami, Anagami, but they can still attain jhana. We have to understand. They can also attain psychic power. Later, we have to talk about psychic power and everything. Then there I will mention again. Okay, now we have the last part, Sotapanati. So, as we have known that the novelhood is our goal or our ambition, we wish to attain path and free knowledge, we wish to attain artisanship. Then here we have to talk about different supporting causes of noble person. Sotapanati power, to become a street enterer and so forth. Then one, morality is the reason for becoming a street enterer and one's returner. As the Buddha said, one who completes or fulfills morality. So that means people also can misunderstand here, right? If we practice the sila, we can take Sotapanati, Sakadagami like that. It's not like this, right? Be careful. Yeah, in this case, the sensual desire and ill will obstruct the concentration, and the delusions obstructs the noble truth. Right? So these two noble persons are not fully eradicated. The defilements that obstruct concentration and then kava, noble truth. So one more thing here. We have to know. So, ill will, in Pali we call Vyapada. If we got angry, we will lose concentration. Similarly, sensual desire. If we have very strong attachment to sensual pleasure, then we will lose our concentration. Then these sensual desire and evil are not eradicated by Visuddhimagga. Another one is delusion. Delusion will cover the Four Noble Truths, the dependent origination, past, present, and past, present, both lives or existences. So Visuddhimagga cannot eradicate the delusion. It just can eradicate only teaching, wrong view, vicikiccha, skepticism. Then we can also say one more thing about jealousy. According to some sutras, you mention jealousy. If the main thing is They just eradicated all these defilements only partly, not fully. They may have sensual desire, but their sensual desire is not powerful enough to send them to it into fourfold states. They may have ill will, but that ill will is not powerful enough to send them to the fourfold states. So although they have sensual desire and ill will, but not so powerful. So they are not so powerful that they cannot be reborn in the fourfold state anymore. Similarly, delusion. They may have delusion, but their delusions are not so powerful that they cannot be reborn in the fourfold states. Another thing is that they may have some wrongdoings, but they will not break 5 precepts. You have already know that one, right? 5 precepts. They will not break 5 precepts. So that means in our previous parts, we talk about transgressing defilements. They have already eradicated the transgressing defilements, right? That means sensual desire, evil, or delusion, or any other defilements. But they will have inherent tendency in their minds. They can rise from time to time. They are also not so powerful that they cannot be reborn into fourfold states. So briefly, the Sotapada and the Sakadagami cannot eradicate sensual desire, evil, and delusion. They just eradicate only partly. That's why they already practice morality, they already practice concentration and wisdom to eradicate only some part of the defilements. That is why by the power of concentration, the morality, by the power of morality, Sotapanna has already completed all the transgression, already overcome the transgression defilements. So again, concentration is the reason for becoming non-returner. Why is mentioned like that? We also can misunderstand. Or if we can take jhana, we can also take nagami. Actually, we have many wrong views like that. Even in Myanmar, there are some teachers, they also say, if you have concentration, you can be nagami at the same time. Like that. But in reality, it's not like that. So that means non-returner has already eradicated the obstructions of concentration, sensual desire, and ill will. So here we have already explained before, right? No, the sensual desire and ill will obstruct concentration. Now, non-returner has already eradicated sensual desire. They don't have sensual pleasure. So this is also information for the Dhamma listener here. In your environment, you may see many people declaring themselves as Arhat or Anagami or something like that. It's very clear. If they like sensual desire, sensual pleasure, it's not Anagami yet. If they have ill will, they are not Anagami yet. Very clear one is, if they have attained Anagami, they will not make business. They will observe 10 precepts. So, to know somebody is Anagami or not, we can give this guideline, right? There's some way we can know by checking their morality. If they observe 10 precepts successfully or completely, they are Anagami. If they can observe 10 precepts, they are not Anagami. Okay, anyway, why we talk about concentration is the reason for becoming non-returner. So then non-returner again eradicates essential desire and evil. That's why they become the reason. Because the same things, concentration can also can eradicate desire and evil. Non-returner also can eradicate desire and evil. So finally, we have wisdom is the reason for hardship. Yeah, you have already know hardship. The arhats will eradicate all types of defilements. So we have many remaining defilements. Here we have already talked about sensual desire, evil. Because it's very popular defilements, right? Lobha, dosa, moha. Lobha is sensual desire, dosa is evil, moha is delusion. So the arhats has already eradicated the delusion that covers the noble truth. That's why wisdom is the reason for hardship. So wisdom also no delusion. Then Ara also indicates no delusion. That's why they have the same source. Then we mention like that. Okay, sometimes people can misunderstand with this relationship. As I have said now, by sila, you can be Sotapanna, Sakadagami. Sometimes they misunderstand. If you just observe sila, you can be Sotapanna. Okay, that means without practicing Noble Eightfold Path, only sila, we cannot attain Sotapatti, Sakadagami, Anagami, or Arhatship. We have to practice the Noble Eightfold Path successfully, completely. So if we summarize the Noble Eightfold Path, it will be 3 trainings. If we talk about only sila, there are only 3 noble paths. Samavacha, right speech. Samakamanta, right actions. Samaajiva, right livelihood. So if we understand by practicing sila, we can attain Sotapatti and Sakadagami. Then this is also misleading. By practicing only 3 noble paths, we can attain Sotapanna, Sakadagami. We can understand like that. But this is only like a metaphor or some similarity. We can talk about it. They can eradicate all the defilements. They can break precepts. That's why they are called sila. So they can also eradicate the defilements. They can obstruct concentration. That they are also called anagami. Then they can eradicate the delusions. They can cover the noble truth. That's why it's equal to arhat. Just similarly or just metaphor. Okay, we have to understand properly. Then, okay, next we have to start talking about sila. So we are going to talk about sila. Recently, I have received some message. Also, we have to. Previously, I planned only 5 precepts, but now here some additional, like 8 precepts or 10 precepts and so forth. So I have to collect all the information first, but later I will send all the information. Okay, now today we just talk about the 3 trainings and their relationship. This part will be very, very, very heavy for the listeners and also understand. But if we talk about Visuddhimagga, I shall not skip this part. After reading this part, many people misunderstand, especially the last part. They misunderstand too much. That is why I just choose this topic. So may you all be able to practice 3 trainings as conclusions, and may you all be able to realize the final cessations by the power of the 3 trainings. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
This question related to the previous talks on simile of entanglement, the simile of bamboo, great tangle of bamboo. She asked about this the magga. It start when the magga arises. It is the starting of disentanglement, and when the phala jnana arises, the tangle has been entangled, means correctly entangled.
Yeah.
So does that means that in the 4 groups of 8 noble person, until the 7th noble person, means the Arhata Magga, they can only attain the Magga Chitta only, and have not attained the fruition knowledge. And only the 8th attainment, means Arahanta Phala.
Okay.
Means the person can they only attain until the 6th, the 7th Arahanta Magga Chitta.
Okay, so according to Visuddhimagga, okay, after past knowledge, fruition knowledge will arise simultaneously. Sorry? Yeah, because they arise they immediately, right? So that's why it is impossible. Only 7 knowledge, right? It will arise 8 knowledge. So past knowledge is followed by fruition knowledge immediately, without any interval. So, okay, that one's easy, right? Okay, now another one.
Dear Sayadaw, if a person had divine eye and recollection of past ability, but his morality become not pure, will he lose these abilities? Could Sayadaw explain with some stories? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so in this case, sure, although he does not break like a 5 or something like that, if they just break normal things, for like, okay, I will explain one story. There was a young Samanera. He had a supernormal power, not only divine eye, actually. He has like a flying in the sky, you know? He could fly in the sky, supernormal power. His teacher reminded him many times, don't play jhana too much. That means to attain all these kinds of attainments, he has to play jhana in 14 ways. The teacher reminded him, don't play jhana too much. If you play jhana with too much, then you will be treated by a blind lady, something like that. The teacher had foreseen his future. The one day he was flying in the sky, one lady was singing the song on the ground. Maybe she was one eye is blind. No, one-eyed lady maybe. So she was singing the song. On hearing the sound, you know, she has attachment to the sound. He was learning. No more jhana. No more psychic power. He got married with the lady. So that means if we break precepts, very clear. Although we don't break precepts, just listening. Actually, in a way, if somebody plays music or something like that, if we listen, this is not breaking precepts. If we ourselves play or if we intentionally go there to listen, that is it, breaking precepts. But in his case, no breaking precepts. But he liked the sounds, attachment. Then he can lose everything. Right? So that is why if we have psychic power, then we must be able to maintain it by observing precepts, also by training mind, both. Okay?
Sayadaw, I'm new to this topic. Could Sayadaw explain what is 4 kinds of discrimination?
Okay. So, yeah, I think this one will be very new to everybody, I think. Later I will explain in the Dhamma Talk again. Okay, anyway, now according to the question, I have to talk about it. So here we have Atta Patisambhidamagga in Pali. I mean, knowing the meaning of the Dhamma. We can also say like a knowing Tipitaka or something like that, right? Patisambhidamagga. Especially here, knowing the meaning. Dhamma Patisambhidamagga, just knowing the causes or knowing the commentary or something like this. So the main thing is here, knowing the causes. Then we also have like a Niroti Patisambhidamagga. Niroti Patisambhidamagga means he will know the grammar, especially Pali grammar. He will also know many other grammar of many other languages. That's called Niroti Patisambhidamagga. Then the last one is Patipana Patisambhidamagga. That one will know previous three. The functions of previous three. For example, this one can be known by Atta Patisambhidamagga. This one can be known by Dhamma Patisambhidamagga. This one can be known by Niroti Patisambhidamagga, like this. The last one will clarify previous three. Okay, so this is called discrimination. 4 kinds of discrimination. Okay, next one.
Shadow about Kama Sukha Lika Nuyoga Vajana, the extreme called devotion to indulgence of sensual desire, and Atak Kilamata Nuyoga Vajana, the extreme called devotion to self-mortification. How could we judge ourselves how extreme is extreme? During meditation, we may feel happy or may feel very tense mind, or our body may feel very painful during sitting. So how do we judge ourselves whether we are going extreme way?
Okay, so that means sometimes, we like the comfort. When we are meditating, as long as we can know the meditation subject is right. Sometimes our minds are not following or not focusing on the main object, following many different other pleasant feelings in our body. Right? It can be very close to self-indulgence. Yoga. So sometimes we don't have very good experience. We feel pain a lot. We don't change our sitting posture. Mostly I remind many meditators, if you are painful, you can change slowly, calmly, focus on the breath like this. But sometimes they don't want to listen. They just say, if I can overcome pain, then there will be no more pain. They have that kind of perception. Actually, this one is not really very good idea. So if we feel pain too much, we cannot constrict anymore. So if we say briefly, as soon as you cannot focus on the breath anymore because of pain, change the posture. It's not some modification. Although you feel pain a lot, just keep sitting, feeling too much pain. Cannot focus on the breath anymore. Then it will be some modification. Be careful, right? Okay.
Dear Sadhu, should we try to change our habit first so that we can improve in our meditation practice, or should we try our meditation first until our practice is able to change our habit later on? Which way should we emphasize first? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so that means there are some bad habits that cannot improve our meditation, right? Then if our habits become an obstacle, we have to change. For example, reading habit or thinking habit. Sometimes we have a habit of analyzing too much. But in our meditation, our mind must be very simple. If our thinking habits become obstacle for our practice, change our habit first. Sometimes some habits are not that much disturbance. For example, like you may have reading habits, then you may read something about only meditation when you're meditating. Some reading are just supporting course of your practice. Right? So in this case, it will not really big problem. But sometimes you have reading habits, you are focused on the breath, but you read many things about other things. In your mind, many other information will come when you're meditating. So, if we say briefly, if your habits become an obstacle, change habits first. If your habits is supporting course of meditation, you don't need to change your habits. Just keep practicing. Okay?
Dear Sadhu, about Tadagapahana, the abandoning of defilements by substitution is morality. Could Sadhu explain a little more details about the meaning of by substitution? Sadhu.
The substitution means, we have another word, replacement, right? Substitution and replacement. So substitute. So the main thing is, if we can practice morality, we have wholesome minds. So it's for the substitutions of unwholesome minds. So that means if we have wrong thoughts, as long as we have thought, it's not breaking precept anymore. Right? This is also unwholesome. But if we change to wholesome things, changing directions. For example, like we would think about killing animal or disturbing other people. We change our thinking habits to replace our unwholesome minds. I have to think about for the welfare of the people. I have to think about for the welfare of the animal. If we change the habits, this is also replacement or substitution. That is why by practicing morality, we can subside the defilements temporarily as substitution, right? So that means we can replace morality or good things for bad things. Okay. Here's one.
Dear Sadhu, how does one accumulate these inherent tendencies? Are inherent tendencies also mean our old habits? Sadhu.
Okay. So, inherent tendency, we call in Bali the Anusaya Kilesa. We have, I have already talked about two different things, right? Aramana Anusaya and then Sandana Anusaya. So Sandana Anusaya can be like old habits, it also can be like old habits. Aramana Anusaya is just because of objects. If something happened, it will arise. If we don't see any desirable, undesirable, just normal object, it will be just normal. So the Aramana Anusaya is uncontrollable. But Sandana Anusaya, it's our habit, right? If we change our habits gradually, because we change. But it doesn't mean we can eradicate all the things. Only by, I have already said, if we talk about, for example, you may have habit of watching movie, for example, or listening to the music, for example. This is because of your Sandana Anusaya. This is because of your Aramana Anusaya, right? Sandana Anusaya, Aramana Anusaya both. Your mind inclined to it more. You want to listen more. Then when you listen, you have more attachment to it. Aramana Anusaya and Sandana Anusaya both. So similarly, many other bad things, because of habits, you used to do something every day. If you don't do that one, you may feel something in your mind, you are lack of something. Then that's because of your habits, tendency, like inherent tendency. Okay, briefly, as according to your questions, it also can be both, or that can be habits. It also can be because of the objects, right? In the very beginning, we actually, for example, like a smoker. Since we are born, we are non-smoker. When we are born, we are non-smoker. But gradually, when we start smoking, finally we have attachment to it. It becomes habits, tendency, right? Every tendency. So we can change. We can also follow. It depends on our choice. Okay.
Dear Sadhu, if a meditator is from other tradition or have faith in other sectarian teachings, when he attains first path and fruition, will he give up faith in those teachings immediately after his first attainment of path and fruition? We heard some meditators in power are from other tradition and also claim that they are Arya. Is this possible? Sadhu.
Actually, if they have attained path and fruition knowledge, they will change. They will not believe in some other sectarian because they will believe in the Buddha, but only Buddha's teaching. If something is not according to Buddha's teaching, they will not believe in it. So sure, they will change their habits. Okay, they will change their point of view. Okay.
Dear Sayadaw, if a bhikkhu committed parijika, can he still be successful in Dhamma? Can he attain jhana, path and fruition, psychic power in this life? If he cannot, what is the reason? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So if we have already break this kind of precepts, he cannot attain any jhana or path and fruition knowledge, whether he knowingly do or unknowingly do. Actually, in the case of parajika, we cannot say unknowingly, because we have already explained in the Sima Hall before we leave, right? These four are very important. You must not do. If you have done this one, you cannot be reordained anymore. You remind every single candidate in the ordination ceremony. That is why we cannot say unknowingly break. Anyway, the main thing is he cannot attain any jhana or path and fruition knowledge. There will be some exception. Exception means that he will not live as a bhikkhu, he will live as a samanera, and in practice, he can attain arhatship. This is possible. Okay? For example, like a jhana also, if as a samanera or as a lay person, he can attain jhana, he can attain Sodapatti, Sakadagami, Anagami. As samanera, he can attain arhatship. This is possible. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, what is the obvious difference between a Sotapanna and a Sakadagami person? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. The Sotapanna and the Sakadagami, what about the eradications of defilements? They are the same, but different power. So Sodapatti will eradicate very gross defilements, right? Then Sakadagami will eradicate subtle defilements. Only this thing will be different. So what about, okay, reverse, it will be different, you know already, right? Sotapanna can be reborn 7 times in the human realms. But for Sakadagami, they will be reborn in the human realm only 1 time, if they wish. If they don't wish, they will not be reborn in the human realm anymore. So this thing will be different.
Dear Sayadaw, Venerable Devadatta made many serious mistakes, but he possessed 5 psychic powers. How can we understand this? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Actually, okay, this case, before he made very many serious mistakes, he had attained psychic power. We can understand like that. Okay, if we have to trace his biography, so within after ordination in the first Vasa, he attained psychic power already. He also practiced Vipassana. So later, when you go and read the Buddha Vasa or any other text, it will mention, when the Buddha was in Kosambi, he tried to persuade Ajatasattu. So that means after, in the Kosambi, the Buddha spent his 9th Vasa in Kosambi. So after 9 Vasa, so the first Vasa, he attained psychic power. About 9 Vasa, he's a very good bhikkhu, practicing very well. And later, he persuades Ajatasattu. He did have psychic power until that time. But later, he gained a lot, He got many supporters from Ajatasattu. His mind started changing. If I can lead the order of Sangha, it will be very great for me. Then he has this kind of mind, From that time on, he got lost all his psychic power. No more psychic power anymore. That is his biography. That is why if we say, according to your questions, before he has very evil mind or bad intentions, he has psychic power. When he has very bad intentions, he got lost everything.
Yamanami Sayadaw. Sayadaw mentioned about Adi Sila, Adi Citta. Adi, what is the meaning of Adi?
Okay, Adi means superior or higher. Okay, Sila means morality, already, right? Adi means superior or higher. Compared to one thing is superior. So if we talk about superior, there may be some comparison. Compared to 9 precepts, 8 precepts, 10 precepts, then Visuddhimagga is superior. Similarly, compared to normal mind, concentration is superior. That's why it's called superior morality, superior concentration, or superior mind, and superior wisdom. Okay? We also the better wisdom.
Just now Siado mentioned about the Devija and this Chalapinya. In the Chalapinya, in Devija, there are Pupennivasanusati and Dipachaku. In Chalapinya also. So what are their difference?
Okay, though that means
and why is that Pupennivasanusati? Since this Pupennivasanusati and Dipachaku has in Devija and Chalapinya, why is it that Sila is the cause for Devija, but concentration is the cause for Chalapinya?
Okay, so here we have to understand 3 different things, okay? When we talk about the attainment, okay, we'll talk about arhatship, for example. Okay, and now this is also talking about arhatship. Arhatship, there are many different types of arhats. The first one is Khinasawa. They don't attain any jhana, they just attain arhatship. This is called Khinasawa. They don't have many other attainments. Okay, this is very, very basics. The second level is Devija. The second type of arhats. Then you compare to Khinasawa, he is more powerful. Because he has to fulfill more parami. Devija. So sometimes for Devija arhats, you may have known many stories in Dhammapada. After listening, it is called they attain hardship together with the Devija arhat, something like this. Chalapinya arhat like this. Okay, so they have to practice to attain psychic power. Devija. This is the second type of arhat. The third one is Chalapinya arhat. They are a little higher than Devija. So they can also attain at the end of the discourse. They attain all the psychic power, 5 psychic power, and also attain hardship at the same time. Different power, okay, different parami. The last one is, as I have written here, discrimination. We can also say analytical knowledge. So there are some arhats, they will attain hardship together with psychic power and analytical knowledge. Get the knowledge of discriminations. So they are the highest arhats, like Venerable Sariputta, Venerable Mahamoggallana, Venerable Ananda. They are Patisambhidamagga. Okay, so different parami, different attainments. So that means not all the people can attain 3 Devija, but those who can attain Chalapinya can attain Devija. Those who can attain Patisambhidamagga, they will attain all the Chalapinya. Like that, huh? We can understand like that. So the different level, different degree of fulfilling parami, different types of attainments. To explain all these things, it makes different. It mentioned 2 times, right? Okay, briefly, arhat, Devija, Chalapinya, Patisambhidamagga. They have different level of parami. That's why it mentioned repeatedly. For example, according to your question, you can also say, arhat also, normal arhat also arhat. Devija also arhat. Chalapinya also arhat. Patisambhidamagga also arhat. Why repeat it? The same question also can ask, right? So they have different level of parami. That's why different level of attainments. That's why it makes them different. Repeating the same things, but different. Okay?
And Siado, the second part of the question, in practicing Sila, when there is no aramana, no object arise, he can practice very purely the sila. For example, in the 8th precept, not singing and not dancing. When this aramana, when this object not appear, okay, when this object appear, then immediately the mind will lose the mindfulness. When he think, if he try to let the mind happy for a while, no, let himself be free for a short while, the mind will be more happy. Then after that, means let the mind to take this object, then the mind will be more happy. But after that, when he reflects on the sila, then the mind will become sad. How to let the mind consistently be happy? For a lay person, it is not easy to control the mind door, control the sense door, and not letting the objects to appear.
Yes, sure. All these precepts are not that easy, sure. So, for example, the music. If you have been to Myanmar, you may have experienced that one. Every day, people play the loudspeaker. Every day we can hear the sound. Sometimes we don't understand what they are singing. So as long as we don't have attachment to it, it's good enough. For example, happiness. It depends on our habit also. If we have habit of listening to music and are happy, sure. After listening or after hearing, we will feel happy. So if we have habit of listening to the Dhamma, if we can feel happy, that's my habit. So that means within one day, we cannot change everything. Within 1 month, we cannot change everything. But gradually, we have to change our habits. So I myself, actually, I also know many, actually, when I was young, teenage boy, I can sing many songs. But later, I will stop because I'm an ordained person, right? Especially when I was in Pao, I will stop singing the song, listen to the music. But anyway, we can hear. The main thing is we have to change gradually. Finally, we can be successful. So sometimes don't complain too much. You say, after reflecting morality, you feel happy. Sure. If you reflect many negative things, not that much happy. Just determine, okay, I will try to avoid this one. Or I will not allow this one happen again. Just keep doing what you have to do. Don't be regret. Okay, don't regret what you have done. Just determine, I will not do again. That's good enough. Okay. So the main thing is here, change habits gradually. Don't be in a hurry. Rome wasn't built in one day. Okay.
For heart transplant, when the heart transplant to another body, so the Kamaja Rupa belongs to whom? Would it be the donor's Kamaja Rupa?
Actually, okay. So that means Kamaja Rupa also can be his Kamaja Rupa, his transplant already, right? So one more thing here. In this case, I don't know who told me this one. I think it's in the US. I think somebody told me that one. Because of transplantations, for example, like somebody said previously, here's a drunkard, for example, right? Then his heart, he offered his heart to another people. And the next person also have that kind of habit again, something like that. Because it also influences somebody's mind. This one is a little bit complicated. So I cannot say exactly who it belongs to who, but probably it belongs to new one who accept this heart plantation, right? Transplantation, sorry. So this one is a little bit complicated. I cannot decide exactly, but this is my own opinion, right? It can be. second owner, not the first owner. Okay.
Another question about sila and adisila. What is the difference? Seado actually explained, I think. Why is it called adisila?
Okay. It's not ordinary. The ordinary people cannot do that one easily. Only special people can do it. That's what we call adisila. We have to follow many rules. Sometimes we don't want to follow, but we have to do it, right? So only special people can do it. That's why it becomes adisila. Okay.
Yamaka suggests that Rupa Kalapas of Rupa Vakara Brahma beings and in Rupa Vakara worlds do not possess material qualities of Gandha, Rasa, and Oja. According to it, Avin-bhoga Rupas in Rupa Varaka Brahma realms are Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo, and Vana. So is it they are not the unseparatable 8-in-1 Rupa Kalapas as usual?
Actually, they will have only 8 materialities in one Kalapas. Right? Rupa Kalapas, the smaller group is only the smaller group is 8. Not less than that. Yeah, in this case, although they don't know the taste or the touch or anything, but they have that kind of rupas there. They don't know it. They don't feel it. They don't experience it. It doesn't mean they don't have, right? Because they don't have tongue. They have tongue, but they don't have tongue translucency. That's why they will not know the taste. Then they don't have body translucency. They don't feel soft or cross or something like that. Only that thing will be different. For arising of rupas, it will be same to other living beings. Right? If they say they have like a kamcha rupas, there will be the number of kamcha rupas in one class, right? One kalapas. Tirja rupas, it will be the same number of materiality in the one kalapas like that. Not much difference. Okay. Another one.
The normal concentration, normal samadhi, and ati chitta. What are the difference? And this is the first part. So what is so called ati chitta? And then why is that the kammasakata jnana? Kammasakata jnana. What is kammasakata jnana?
Okay.
That one, one by one, Seado. Sorry.
Okay. The first one is normal concentration and aditita, right? Okay. Normal concentration means like just when we focus on the breath, normally it's normal concentration. When we can change jhana, it becomes aditita, superior mind or better mind or higher mind. That one is easier to understand, right? Another one is the second question is?
Second question is what is kammasakata jnana?
Kammasakata jnana. Okay. So kammasakata jnana means we have to believe in karma. So for example, if we understand good actions will produce good results, bad action will produce bad results. If we understand like that, this is called kammasakata jnana. We also call karma ownership knowledge. We own our karma. Our karma is our own creator. Right? If we wish to do good, we must do good. If we don't wish to experience bad things, we must be good. So this is called kammasakata jnana. Okay? This one?
And next is about mindfulness. Mindfulness, does that mean the mindfulness cetasika and mindfulness this sambhajana means right comprehension? Does that mean panya cetasika?
Sure. Okay, this one sure. Mindfulness is sati cetasika. Kriya Samajanya is Panya Kirasila. Sure. Right.
And why mindfulness is Upanisaya for Pubbenivasanusati and Panya is Upanisaya for Tipacaku.
Mindfulness is always needed. Compared to all other things, right? Mindfulness is always needed. So sometimes wisdom is very powerful. When excessive wisdom, then it can be harmful for the meditators. How about mindfulness is always needed? So, okay, the main thing is the powerful morality is dependent of mindfulness and wisdom. Morality. Then similarly, these are also powerful dependence of the mindfulness, also the very good foundations of Tipacaku, right? Sorry, Pubbenivasanusati. Okay. So in this case, okay, so by the power of mindfulness, we can attain the regulation of the past. Pubbenivasanusati jnana. Then he also mentioned clear comprehension, make divine eyes. Two different things here, right? So recollection of past lives is only our own past lives. This is the one thing. But clear comprehension, the divine eyes. Divine eyes is actually, we have to know many other living beings in detail. That means expanding the lives, we have to see many different things like something like this. So clear comprehension is very powerful in this case. That's why these two are different base, different foundations. Right? That's why it mentioned two different ways. Okay, if I summarize, mindfulness is needed everywhere. Then we are going to see the past lives. Mindfulness is predominant. This is the leading factors. But when we are going to see many other living beings, like what divine eyes, clear comprehension is also needed. The leading factors. That's why it mentioned like that. Okay.
Let me see, Ado. For Sotapanna, would they not commit any? Would they not break any 5 precepts anymore for Sotapanna?
Sure. So they will not break any precepts, any of 5 precepts. Yeah.
Seattle, another question regarding during the notes. It says that when the inclination, maturity of inclination will support the
destruction of chains.
Asavaka.
Yeah, sure.
And this inclination, what does that mean by inclination here?
Okay, yeah, we can say ajasaya, ajasaya. In Pali, we talk about ajasaya, right? So that means when our mind, our wish or our desire or our inclination is pure, then we can attain the destruction of taints. For example, like okay, this one is a little bit easier to explain. For example, if we have attachment to human lives, right? Then we will wish to be reborn as a human being. That one cannot destroy taints. So if we have good inclination, we will to be free from everything. Good inclination, very pure inclinations. Then it will make the destruction of taints. Okay.
Second part of the question, Siado, for anusaya, defilement, there are 2 types, aramana anusaya. So the other is sandana anusaya. Then it says why Siado suggests that we can use 10 precepts to examine the anagami. Is that the perfections of precept practice is 10 precepts?
Okay, so that means I just talk about the nature of anagami. In this case, not concerning with the relationship of three trainings. So if we were to check anagami, this is the special quality of anagami, right? I just talk about the nature of anagami. Okay? Yeah?
Madami Sayadaw, would Sayadaw please give an example of Karita Sila? And does clear comprehension refer to three parina? Thank you very much, Sayadaw.
Okay. So, Charita Sila, right? Charita Sila is like duties we have to perform. Later, we have to explain everything. For example, like Bhikkhu, we have to fulfill our duties, we have to perform our duties. For example, we have to work for our students. For example, I myself, I have to work for my students. This is my duty. So my students have to work for me. This is duties. So this, then not only that, we have many other. For example, if some visitor come to my monastery, I have to welcome them, something like that. All these are duties, responsibilities. If we fulfill all these things, we are moral. If we don't fulfill, immoral. So that means Charita Sila also, when we talk about, if we say briefly, Charita means the Buddha say, do it. If the Buddha say, do it, we have to do it. If we avoid doing that one, this is also breaking precepts. Sometimes the Buddha say, don't do it. We have to avoid doing this. If we don't avoid, if we just do it, what the Buddha has prohibited is a breaking precepts. So Charita and Varita are opposite. Charita is to do. You know, in modern society, we have to-do list, you know. And we also have to-do list. But it's not for planning. Whether we like or dislike, don't do it. We have to do it. This is called to-do list. Now is it? Varita is like a not to do. These two are opposite. These two are different. Another one is the clear comprehension and parinya, or something like that. What's the second one?
And does clear comprehension refer to three parinya? Thank you very much.
Clear comprehensions and parinya are a little bit different things. So clear comprehension, we have later we have to explain clear comprehensions when we talk about Simultaneous Chapter. Okay, so there will be many different types of clear comprehensions. For example, like objects. When we have some subjects, also clear comprehensions, something like this. Okay.
Dear Sayadaw, recently there's a breakthrough in the medical field. Doctors were able to implant pig's heart organ into a human being. Will this human have the memory of the pig? How can this be possible?
This memory of the pig?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. That's one. Somebody told me that one. Because maybe missing out the blood, maybe, right? Right? This is also, many people told me previously, but I know not pig organs. This is the first time I have ever known. Pig's memory. Okay, so I cannot imagine that one. Okay, yeah. Okay, next one.
Interpreter Bante, 这个需要您。
For a ordained person, if his sila is not complete and she has committed some offense, can he attain Maggaphala?
Okay, so it depends on what kind of person. For example, like a lay person, right? So if they break precepts, but when they are practicing, previously they have breaking precepts, but when they are practicing, they will observe precepts, then they can attain Bhakti and fruition knowledge. For about ordained person, it depends on what kind of offense. If we break very serious offense, like Parajika, we cannot attain anymore. Like Sanghadisesa, like there was some probation. After that, we can practice, we can change jhana like that. It depends on what kind of offense and who they are, right?
Someone says Patisambhida should not translate as Patisambhida in Chinese. Should translate as analysis. So Patisambhida in Bali, does it has the meaning of analysis?
Okay, so whenever we translate, we cannot say it's accurate all the time, right? Translation test or something similar to this, we have to translate. In Bali, Patisambhida is like okay.
So the word is you say can translate as discriminate, differentiate, or analyze.
Okay, this is possible. We can say the discriminates or maybe differentiates or something like that. Then Patisambhida, okay, I should check in the translation. Patisambhida or BD, sure. So Pati, me, Pati and San and then BD. BD means actually breaking into pieces. This is called BD. Beta. That's we can like the differentiates or discriminates or maybe analyzing is okay.
Vanami said, if the bhikkhu who is named like he create a lot of poems, and then he also he addressed him as a writer and a poet writer. So can he practice and know the 5 khandha, and can he be a real bhikkhu? Said, this question mean the bhikkhu he created many poems, and then he also addressed him as a writer, the writer, not the bhikkhu names. So yeah, he involved a lot of to lay people things. So can he practice and know to see the 5 khandhas? Yes.
Maybe poems, right?
Yes, Sedo, yes.
It depends on what kind of ingredients. For example, like Dhamma poems. You know, when we have one bhikkhu called one chapter in Simultaneous, we have one bhikkhu. I don't know his name. He has, he can compose many Pali poems, like a stanza now, right? Buddha himself also used Pali stanza. This is called poems. So in this case, the writer is not really a big problem. The main thing is whether he practices or not. Writer is a writing. Writing is a writing. This is another one. This is his choice. It doesn't matter. So if he can practice well, then he can attain. He can see Namarupa. So he can also see, right? So poets, monks, sure. This is not that convenience, right? Was the okay? Well, have I say openly? Okay. Actually, when I was teenage boy, not teenage boy, around at the bhikkhu at around 2 months or something like that. At the time, I also trying to compose many poems. If I'm trying to compose many, we have to think a lot. Not only poems. If we are going to write some article or something like that, we have to think a lot. Then this cannot make good concentration. But when I was learning the Pali text, I'm thinking about how to write, how to compose. Then, actually, if we are going to be a writer, especially like a non-meditation writing, then we cannot meditate well. This is impossible to see Namarupas or 5 Viki or something like this. Okay?
Vandami Sayadaw, the first type of anusaya is aramana. Arumana anusaya. It can be purified through practicing vipassana by discerning namarupa. Can Sayadaw explain how this anusaya is eradicated? Is it because when the aramana, which is the object, is broken down, gana is broken down? This is the first question.
Okay. So, now what you say is also right. So aramana, object is also nama, also rupas, right? Something namas. Okay. So then, as we have known the dependent originations, that's the causes. Then we also have the charana method, the objects, the place, the consciousness, the feeling. Then there's also contact. If we design all this as anicca dukkha anatta, then sure, then defilement cannot arise. That's why Aramananusia is eradicated by, we can say subside by vipassana. Okay, so next one.
The next part of the question, how to spell the Pali word for the second type of anusaya?
Santananusaya, okay. That means S-A-N-T-A long A, then N-A. Santa, N-A long A, right? And then Nusaya will be the same. Okay?
The last part of this question, what is the Pali word for the ability unshaken by contact with pleasant and unpleasant condition? What
this
guna?
Okay, Dadi guna, T-A long A, D-I-G-U, and then dot A, Dadi guna. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, what kinds of mental quality can lead one to possess equipoise to desirable or undesirable objects?
Actually, this only arhats can have this kind of quality. But one more thing, those who practice vipassana very seriously may have this kind of quality. That means their mind is not unshaken by, and it's also Dadi guna actually. Okay?
Vadami Sayadaw, please explain, because of the latent tendency of anusaya, karma become the karma potentiality.
So, this is not really a big problem, right? Karma is it? Sorry, because of latent tendency, karma become? Karma
potentiality, yeah.
Okay. We call karma sati. Okay, anyway. So, okay, karma sati is not because of only that. There are many other things, right? So, as long as we have a kilesa, when we talk about the karma that give results, there must be, okay, when we are going to make the lights, there must be, we are going to make candlelight, for example, right? There must be wax, there must be wick, there must be flame. There must be the fire, right? Together, three things together. So similarly now, all the karma potentiality come from defilements. The defilements and actions combined together. Then that karma will produce results. For arahats, they have actions, but no more defilements, then their new actions cannot produce results anymore. Okay, that means defilements and actions combined together, it will produce the results. If actions without defilements, it cannot produce results. We can understand like that. Okay? So karma potentiality, not because of only anusaya, also because of other kilesas. Okay? Another one?
Dear Sayadaw, you mentioned about the 6 abhina. The first 5 are the psychic powers, but I did not catch the sixth one.
Okay. So the 6th one is asavakaya jnana in Pali. The knowledge of destruction of taints. This is called the 6th one. So the first 5 is abhignana, right? Okay.
Sayadaw, just now there is this similar question raised before. There is one news about a patient received the heart of a pig.
Okay.
Would it be too complicated to understand this?
Sure, it's too complicated, sure.
For sila, just now Sayadaw mentioned that sila will be the support for devija. Concentration will be support for the charapanya. Why is that in devija?
Why?
Why is that in devija, the pupanivassanusati and dipachaku will have sila as support, and in charapanya also have pupanivassanusati and dipachaku and this time it has samadhi as support.
Okay, so I think similar question also have already asked before, right? Okay, now I have to change the answer. Okay, we have different package. I should talk about modern community, modern times, right? Different package. Chala Binya, actually, it will be 6 together. Dvijapada, 3 together. Different package. So we can say the Sila will be very powerful supporting cause of only 3 in one pack. Then concentration will support 5 in one package, right? Different package, we can understand our modern community. When you go and buy something in the market, right? You have different package. It will be easier to understand, okay?
Chinese.
The normal Kinasawa Arahant, if they practice meditation, would they become Devija or Chalabinya Arahant?
Okay, it depends on their parami. Not all the people can attain Devijapada or Chalabinya. If they have very strong, powerful parami, they can attain Devijapada, Chalabinya, or Patisambhidamagga. It depends on parami, right? We cannot say exactly.
Andamisiado, Pupe Nivasanusati, the Parikama, the Parikama of Pupe Nivasanusati will support the Pupe Nivasanusati Jnana through Upanisaya Pachaya. How to understand this sentence?
This is from Patana, maybe, right? Okay, so actually, if we talk about Upanishad, it will be very wide. So, okay, there will be preliminary determinations before we enter into Buddhism Pinya. All the preliminary works can be powerful supporting causes of Buddhism. Not only that, in many other psychic power, it will be the same. Okay, there are many preliminary works before enter. This is the normal. Without that, they cannot enter. Okay.
I think this is a little repeated. There is a baker who writes poem about Dhamma publicly with a specific brand name. Does he fulfill Sila portion of Bhikkhu?
Okay, as long as he just compose something about like a Dhamma or something like that, we cannot say breaking precepts. If we just write many Dhamma for fun or something like that, then it will be the problem. Okay. Ita wadaja amehi sambadam bunya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe saddha numodandu sabba sampati siddhiya idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadeyo idam me nyatinam hodu Sukhita hondu nyadeyo, idam me nyatinam hodu. Sukhita hondu nyadeyo, idam me punyam. Asawakaya waham hodu, idam me punyam. Nibbanasa bhajayo hodu, mama punya bhagam sabbasadanam bhajemi de sabbe me samam. Punya bhagam labandu sadhu sadhu sadhu.